The moment Emily realized the Uber driver who'd been listening to her complain about her failed marriage for the last 20 minutes was actually her ex-husband, the man she'd called a worthless dreamer 5 years ago. The same man who now owned the $47 million estate she was heading to. Everything she thought she knew about her life shattered. But let me rewind, because that morning, Emily Hartwell woke up in her cramped studio apartment with one mission: don't screw up dinner with Richard's family. Richard Pemberton, wealth management executive, six-figure salary, stable, predictable. Everything her ex-husband wasn't. She stared at her reflection, practicing her smile. "I'm a corporate contract lawyer" sounded better than "I'm scrambling for freelance work after my firm downsized." The designer dress she'd bought on credit hung on her closet door, her armor for tonight. Richard's mother was old money, the kind that could smell desperation 3 rooms away. Emily's phone buzzed. "Richard, car service fell through. Can you Uber? Address is 1247 Summit Ridge Drive. Don't be late. Mother hates tardiness." She groaned. So much for arriving in style. 45 minutes later, running late and stressed, Emily slid into the back of a black Tesla. The driver wore a baseball cap pulled low, sunglasses despite the evening hour. "Summit Ridge Drive," she muttered, already pulling out her laptop. "Got it," the driver said quietly. She barely looked up. Just another faceless driver in a city full of them. Her phone rang. Her best friend Jasmine. "How are you feeling about tonight?" Emily sighed, lowering her voice even though she assumed the driver wasn't listening. Terrified. Richard's family is in light, old money, the kind that makes you feel like you're auditioning just to breathe their air. "Sounds like someone else you used to know." "Don't." Emily's voice sharpened. Nathan was different. His family wasn't rich. He just acted like his stupid tech dreams were worth more than paying our rent. Behind the wheel, Nathan's grip tightened slightly. She didn't notice. "I wasted 3 years on him, Jazz. 3 years watching him pour our savings into some AI fantasy while I worked 60-hour weeks. He missed our anniversary for a pitch meeting that went nowhere. I had to serve him divorce papers just to wake up from the delusion." Nathan adjusted his rearview mirror, watching her. 5 years. 5 years since she'd walked out of their apartment with 2 suitcases and divorce papers that might as well have been a death certificate for everything he'd believed about love. "You did what you had to do," Jasmine said. "You can't build a life with someone who'll never amount to anything." Those exact words. The same ones Emily had said the day she left. Nathan had spent 18 months proving her wrong. His AI company, the one she'd called a fantasy, sold to a tech consortium for $2.3 billion. He'd become one of the youngest billionaires in Silicon Valley. But success hadn't filled the crater she'd left in his chest. "I just hope Richard is different, stable, realistic, someone who understands that love isn't enough if you can't pay the bills." "Does he make you happy?" Jasmine asked. Emily paused. Too long. "He makes me feel secure." That wasn't an answer, and they both knew it. She hung up and finally glanced at the driver, really looked at him for the first time. Something about his jawline. No, Nathan was probably still scraping by in some tiny apartment, bitter about how things ended. She'd moved on. This was just pre-dinner anxiety messing with her head. Her work phone rang. A client, furious about a contract clause. For the next 10 minutes, Emily tore into the caller with the precision of a surgeon. Contract law was the one place she still felt powerful. When she hung up, she caught the driver's eyes in the rearview mirror. Was he smiling? "Long day?" he asked. His voice was careful, controlled. "You have no idea." She rubbed her temples. "Sometimes I wonder if I made the right choices, you know? I had this ex-husband. God, why am I telling you this?" She laughed bitterly. "Sorry, you're basically a therapist with the steering wheel." "It's okay," Nathan said softly. "I've heard worse. What happened with your ex?" Emily stared out the window at the passing city lights. "I thought I was too good for him. He was chasing these impossible dreams, wanted to build something that would change the world. Meanwhile, I was drowning in student loans, working myself to death while he played entrepreneur." "Maybe he really believed in what he was building," Nathan offered. "Belief doesn't pay rent. I gave him 3 years. 3 years of being the responsible one, the adult in the relationship. And you know what he did? Missed our anniversary for some investor meeting that failed. That was it for me. I realized I was married to a fantasy, not a man." Nathan's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. "Did you ever wonder if you gave up too soon?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Emily's laugh was sharp. "Given where I am now, scrambling for contract work and dating a man I'm not sure I even love, maybe, but at least Richard won't humiliate me by chasing dreams he'll never catch." If you can't stand people who abandon others the moment things get hard, let me know in the comments. Type "loyalty matters." Because what Emily didn't know was that the man listening to every word was about to show her exactly what those dreams became. The Tesla climbed into the hills, the city lights falling away behind them. The houses grew larger, more spread out. Gates, security cameras. Wealth that didn't need to announce itself. Emily checked the address again. Summit Ridge Drive. She'd looked it up earlier. This was where tech moguls and entertainment executives built their compounds. Richard had said his family was borrowing a friend's estate for dinner, some business associate of his father's. The Tesla slowed at a massive iron gate. Security lights flooded the car. 2 guards approached. Emily straightened, subtly self-conscious. Then one of the guards leaned down, and his entire demeanor changed. "Welcome home, Mr. Reed. Good to see you, sir." Emily's brain stuttered. "Mr. Reed?" The driver lowered his window. "Thanks, James. Guest in the back." "Of course, sir. Mrs. Pemberton and her party arrived 20 minutes ago." The gate swung open. Emily's mouth went dry. "I'm sorry, what did he call you?" Nathan pulled off his sunglasses, removed his cap, and finally turned to look at her directly. "Hello, Emily." The world tilted. Those eyes, that voice without the careful disguise. "Nathan?" Her voice cracked. What are you doing driving an Uber?" He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "I don't. I own this car. I own this estate. I own the security company protecting the gate you just passed through." He paused. "I've been keeping an eye on you, Em. Not obsessively, just I never could fully let go.
Emily couldn't breathe. This is your house? One of them. Nathan pulled up the circular driveway past a fountain that probably cost more than her entire year's salary. I bought it 2 years ago. Sometimes I loan it out to business associates. Richard's father handles some of my investment portfolio. When he asked to borrow the venue to impress his future daughter-in-law, I didn't know that was you. Not at first. The Tesla stopped in front of marble steps leading to doors that belonged in a European palace. Then how did you... Emily's mind was racing, trying to catch up. I saw your name on the guest list yesterday. I could have canceled, should have, probably, but when I saw your Uber request pop up this morning, he turned to face her fully now. I couldn't resist. I needed to know if you'd changed, if you still measured people by their bank accounts instead of their hearts. Tears burned Emily's eyes. Nathan, You spent 20 minutes telling a stranger, telling me, that you gave up on us because I was chasing impossible dreams. That belief doesn't pay rent. His voice was steady, but she could hear the wound underneath. You were right about one thing. Belief alone isn't enough. But you were wrong about me, about what I could become when someone finally bet against me hard enough to make me prove them wrong. Through the massive windows, Emily could see people moving inside. Richard, his parents, waiting for her. Why did you do this? Why bring me here? Nathan's expression softened, just slightly. Because 5 years ago, you walked out believing you knew exactly who I was and who I'd always be. I needed you to see who I became. Not for revenge, Em, for closure, for both of us.
He got out, walked around, opened her door like the gentleman, like he always had, even when they could barely afford dinner. Emily stepped out on shaking legs. The dress that had felt like armor this morning now felt like a costume. Your fiancé is inside, Nathan said quietly, waiting to introduce you to his family, in my house, at my table, eating food prepared by my chef. He handed her a small envelope. But before you go in, you should read this. What is it? The pitch deck. The one I was working on the night I missed our anniversary. The night you decided I'd never amount to anything. Emily's hands trembled as she took it. You don't have to read it now, Nathan continued. But I've carried it for 5 years, hoping someday you'd understand. The meeting didn't fail, Emily. I walked out. Her head snapped up. What? Halfway through the pitch, I realized I was doing exactly what you'd accused me of, choosing dreams over the woman I loved. So I left. Ran home to surprise you, to tell you I was done, that you were right, that I'd get a regular job and we'd figure it out together. His voice cracked. But when I got home, you were gone. Just divorce papers on the kitchen counter. Emily's knees nearly buckled. I called you 17 times that night. You never answered. Your lawyer sent a message, my client has nothing further to discuss. So I went back to that investor the next day, finished the pitch, and I built everything. The company, the fortune, this life on the foundation of knowing the person I loved most believed I would fail. If you believe that success means nothing without someone to share it with, hit that subscribe button. Because what happened next inside that house would force Emily to choose between the safe life she'd built and the man she'd never stopped loving.
Nathan gestured toward the door. They're waiting for you. Richard seems like a good man. Stable, predictable. Everything I wasn't. He stepped back. I won't interfere with your evening. I'll stay out of sight. But Emily,
Before you walk through that door and commit to a life with him, ask yourself one question. Does he make you feel alive or just safe? He started to walk away. Nathan, wait! He stopped but didn't turn around. Why do you still care? Her voice broke. After what I did to you, why does it matter if I'm happy? Now he turned, and for the first time, she saw past the billionaire, past the hurt, to the boy she'd married in a courthouse ceremony because they couldn't afford a wedding. Because I spent 5 years becoming everything you said I could never be. And the only thing I wanted when I finally made it was to tell you that you were wrong. Not to hurt you, just to prove that the man you loved once upon a time deserved your faith. He smiled sadly. Turns out, money can buy everything except a time machine. He disappeared around the side of the house. Emily stood alone under the massive chandelier-lit portico, holding an envelope that felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Inside, she could hear laughter, Richard's voice warm and jovial, telling some story to his parents. She opened the envelope. The pitch deck was worn, edges soft from years of handling, but it wasn't the business plan that made her sink on the marble steps. It was the dedication on the first page, written in Nathan's handwriting. For Emily, who believed in me before I believed in myself. Every line of code, every late night, every impossible dream is because you made me want to be better. This company will change the world, but you already changed mine. Happy anniversary. I'm coming home early tonight. I love you. In. The date. 5 years ago. Anniversary night. Emily's tears fell onto the paper, smudging ink that had survived half a decade. He'd been coming home to choose her, and she'd already left. The front door opened. Richard appeared, handsome in his tailored suit. Emily? Darling, we were getting worried. Come inside. Mother is eager to meet you. She looked up at him. Kind, stable Richard, who'd never missed a dinner, never chased a wild dream, never made her feel like she was standing on the edge of something terrifying and beautiful. Richard, I need to tell you something. Can it wait? Father's already opened the wine and... He stopped, really seeing her for the first time. Are you crying? What happened? The owner of this house, Emily said slowly. Did your father tell you who he is? Some tech billionaire, Nathan Reed, made a fortune in AI. Father's been managing his investments for 2 years. Why? He's my ex-husband. Richard's face went blank. You're the one who chased impossible dreams? The one I gave up on. Silence stretched between them. Emily, whatever you're feeling right now, nostalgia, regret, you need to remember why you left him. You made the right choice. You chose stability over fantasy. Did I? She stood, still clutching the pitch deck. Or did I choose fear over faith? This is crazy. You're getting emotional because you saw an ex who got lucky? He didn't get lucky. Her voice rose. He worked for it, believed in it, while I was too scared to bet on anything that didn't come with a guarantee. She looked at Richard, really looked at him. Do you love me, Richard? Or am I just another safe investment? His silence was answer enough. I care about you deeply, Richard finally said. We're compatible. We want the same things. Do we? Emily interrupted. Because right now, the only thing I want is to find the man who just walked away and tell him I'm sorry, that I was wrong, that the biggest mistake of my life wasn't marrying a dreamer, it was not dreaming with him. Richard's jaw tightened. If you walk away from me right now, Emily, we're done. My family is inside. This is humiliating. I know. She slipped off the engagement ring. Modest, sensible, exactly what she thought she wanted. She pressed the ring into his hand and ran. Down the marble steps, past the fountain, following the stone path around the side of the house where Nathan had disappeared. Her heels clicked against the pavement. Then she kicked them off, running barefoot across perfectly manicured grass. She found him standing at the edge of a cliff overlooking the city, hands in his pockets, staring at the lights below. Nathan! He turned, surprise flickering across his face. Emily stopped 3 feet away, breathing hard, holding up the pitch deck. You were coming home that night. You chose me. I did. And I didn't answer your calls, didn't give you a chance to explain. I just decided I knew better, knew who you were and who you'd be. Tears streamed down her face. I was so scared, Nathan. Scared of struggling forever. Scared of believing in something that might fail. So I left before you could disappoint me. And in doing that, I became the person I was most afraid of. Someone who gave up on the best thing in her life because it was hard. Nathan's expression was... The silence stretched so long, Emily thought her heart might stop. Then Nathan spoke, his voice rough. Do you know what the hardest part was? It wasn't the divorce. Wasn't even the loneliness. It was succeeding and having no one to celebrate with. Every milestone, the first major contract, the acquisition offer, the day I became a billionaire, I'd reach for my phone to call you, and then remember you weren't there anymore. Nathan, I bought this house because you once showed me a picture of your dream home. Remember? We were lying in our tiny apartment, browsing real estate listings we'd never afford, and you pointed to an estate on Summit Ridge. Said someday, if you ever made it, that's where you'd want to live. He gestured to the mansion behind them. I bought it 2 years ago. Never lived in it, just kept it, like some kind of shrine to a future that died 5 years ago. Emily's breath caught. I've dated, Nathan continued, beautiful people, successful people, but I couldn't love any of them because I never stopped comparing them to you. To the memory of the woman who believed in me when I had nothing. Even after you left, I couldn't let that version of you go. What are you saying? Nathan finally closed the distance between them. I'm saying I've spent 5 years building an empire on foundations of hurt and anger and determination to prove you wrong. And tonight, listening to you in that car, I realized something. He reached up, gently wiping a tear from her cheek. I don't want to be the man who succeeded to spite you. I want to be the man who succeeds with you. But Emily, I can't go back to who I was. The struggles, the poverty, the uncertainty, that shapes me, but I won't live that way again. If you're here because I'm rich now, I'm here because I was an idiot, Emily cut him off. I'm here because 5 minutes ago, I broke off my engagement to a perfectly nice man who never made my heart race the way you did when we had nothing. I'm here because that pitch deck has a dedication that proves you loved me more than I ever deserved. She stepped closer, looking up at him. I don't want your money, Nathan. I want the man who used to stay up until 3 a.m. explaining AI algorithms like they were poetry. who believed he could change the world with code and determination, who chose me over his dreams and got punished for it. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I want a second chance to be the woman who deserves that man. Comment second chances if you believe some love stories deserve a rewrite. Because what Nathan did next will determine if 5 years of heartbreak could be rewritten, or if some mistakes are too big to forgive. Nathan searched her eyes for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone. What are you doing? Emily asked. Calling my lawyer. He held the phone to his ear. David, Nathan Reed, I need you to draft something. Yes, right now. He kept his eyes locked on Emily's. A prenuptial agreement. Airtight. Everything I owned before today remains separate property. Anything acquired during the marriage is 50-50. But my existing assets, the company, the properties, the investments, all protected. Emily's eyes widened. Nathan. He held up a finger. Add a clause. In the event of divorce, Emily Hartwell receives nothing from assets predating the marriage, not $1. He paused. I want it ready by tomorrow morning. He hung up. Emily stood frozen. You're protecting your assets from me? I'm protecting us from your doubts. Nathan's expression was fierce. You left once because you thought I'd fail and drag you down with me. Now I'm successful, and part of you is probably wondering if you're here for the right reasons. This way, you'll never have to wonder, and neither will I.
Who might fail spectacularly at the next venture. Who'll never be as safe or predictable as Richard. Nathan took her hands, but who'll love you with everything he has. Who'll choose you over any deal, any success, any dream. Because I learned something in 5 years without you. Nothing I build means anything if I'm building it alone. Emily launched herself into his arms, laughing and crying simultaneously. Yes, yes, you idiot, yes. Nathan caught her, spinning her once before setting her down and kissing her like they were broke newlyweds again, like 5 years hadn't passed. Like they had all the time in the world to get it right this time. When they finally broke apart, Emily rested her forehead against his. I'm still sorry, she whispered, for not believing, for leaving. I'm sorry too, Nathan said, for making you feel like you had to be the only responsible one, for not seeing how scared you were. We were kids playing at being adults. We were, he smiled, but we're not kids anymore. Emily pulled back slightly, a thought occurring to her. Your business associate's son, Richard, his father manages your money. This is going to be incredibly awkward. Nathan laughed, a real laugh, the kind she remembered before everything fell apart. Worth it. Besides, Richard seems like a decent guy. He'll find someone better suited to him. Someone who wants safe. And you want? Emily looked up at the mansion, the dream house she'd once pointed to in a magazine, then back at Nathan. I want the adventure, the uncertainty, the man who dreams impossible things. She grinned. I want the Uber driver who turned out to be a billionaire. Best plot twist ever. Technically, I'm a billionaire who drives Uber for fun. Even better. They walked back toward the house hand in hand, past Richard, who stood on the steps with his parents, looking shell-shocked. I'm sorry, Emily said sincerely as they passed. You deserve someone all in. That's not me. Richard nodded slowly. Then, surprising everyone, he smiled. Can't say I saw that coming, but I hope you're happy, Emily. I am, finally.
Inside the mansion, Nathan led Emily through rooms filled with art and luxury to a smaller private study. On the desk sat a framed photo, the only personal item in the space. Emily picked it up, her breath catching. Their courthouse wedding, both of them grinning like idiots. Her in a thrift store dress, him in his only suit. Broke, in love, believing they could take the world on together. You kept this? It's the only photo I look at every day. Nathan wrapped his arms around her from behind. Reminder of why I started and what I lost along the way. Emily set the photo down carefully. You didn't lose it. It just took me 5 years to find my way back. 5 years too long. Then let's not waste another day. 6 months later, they remarried in that same courthouse, Emily in another thrift store dress, by choice this time, Nathan in jeans and a t-shirt. No guests, no fanfare.